So let's talk about how we get started making 3D objects so that we actually see them in the scene. We've talked a lot about the interface and how to move the camera around, so let's actually start making some stuff. So what we're going to talk about is the idea of primitives. And primitives are just like what they sound like. They're the basic building blocks that a lot of objects kind of start out as. Think about it as like roughing in something. You might take a tree and you might refine it down to a baseball bat, but there was originally this cylindrical piece of wood that you used to help get you there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys a couple different ways that we start making 3D models. And one of them is right here under the poly modeling shelf option. So if you're not clicked on it, come back over to poly modeling right here. And you'll notice that by default, Maya has added a couple different object shapes. And these are called polygon objects. So that if you see right here, if you hover over it, you'll get a tooltip that says polygon sphere, a cube, a cylinder, a cone. 99% of the time when you start making an object, you're most likely going to use a sphere, a cube, a cylinder, or a plane. And again, we'll go into more detail about when to do that and what's appropriate. But for right now, I'm just going to take the cube and I'm just going to left click on it. And what you'll notice is it's created one right at the very center of our grid, right at the 0, 0, 0 point. And I can hit Alt and I can spin around it. And again, you can see it is 3D geometry that represents a cube. Perfect. Now, a couple quick notes. Once we create an object, and you'll notice that with this green highlight, that means the object is selected. If you left click off the object, you'll see it's not selected. And if I left click on it, you'll see it stays green. If you come over here and we have three options along the side here, the channel box, the modeling toolkit, and the attributes editor. What you'll notice is a couple different things. First, we have the channel box. Right here, we can see that this cube, which is called P cube 1, is currently at 0, 0, 0, like we talked in the grid. It's rotated nothing, and it's got its default scale. And Maya kind of decided what that was going to be. If we come down here to the inputs, there's this option called Polycube 1. If you click on it, what you'll notice is that there's some data, if you think about it that way, there's some information that helps us create the actual object we see here. And so we see width, height, depth, subdivisions, all is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Well, you might ask yourself, what if I wanted this object to be a little bit wider? So what I can do is I can either click on width, this little box, you'll see it's editable, and if I type 5, hit enter, now I have a box that's 5 units by 1 by 1. And again, this is just to kind of start iterating that not everything is fixed and we have a lot of flexibility over what we do. Subdivisions are the idea of taking this distance and again, dividing it up into more sections. So let's just say I do this into 5 sections. So now I have a longer box made of more cuts, okay? And we'll talk about what that means in the future. But I just wanted to start you understanding what the channel box kind of is used for. So again, up here at the top, it's at 0 on the X. If we reference down here to the corner, the lower left-hand corner, the X runs this way to this way. So if I go positive 5 units, you can see it moved from the very center 5 units in the X. I'm going to now take this object and I'm actually just going to make sure I left click on it so it's green and highlighted and hit delete. I want to show you guys one more way that we make primitives. So let's say that I don't have access to this shelf or I don't want to use it. I want more options. So again, the shelf is just shortcuts to the tools that exist in the top. So if I go to create at the top, which is the third option in usually, and I come down to polygon primitives. So I have a lot of different options here for shapes to start from. So this time, let's start with a cylinder. So there's a cylinder right here. I'm going to left click and you can see now I have a cylinder in my scene. Again, it's put it right in the very center. If I come over here to the channel box, I can left click on poly cylinder. It'll expand and show me all the options. And again, have some fun with this. Come in here and change some of the different options. So right under here under subdivide axes, this means that there's 20 points around the outside of this cylinder to make it the way it looks. So let's say I go to 8 and then I hit enter. Now I have only 8 points around the outside. And this is, again, something that's going to be important when we are trying to be cognitive of how many points our models are made up of in the future. So to sum up this video, we wanted to talk about different ways we start making the primary objects that let us start building the models that we want to make in the future.